Now we can see a new world coming into view.
God damn it!
A world in which there is a very real prospect of a new world order.
Shut up!
New world order does not mean surrendering our national sovereignty.
You ignorant son of a bitch!
Forfeiting our interests.
You fucking troll! Fuck you! Go away! You ignorant cocksucking fag motherfucker! You understand that? You dumb son of a bitch!
He took an oath to defend the Constitution of the United States of America.
Don't do it, motherfucker! Don't you dare do it!
By some, he's been called controversial.
I don't care how long your dick is! You stick it up your ass for all I care!
He is the free American, Clay Douglas.
Now I know my goddamn name!
This anguish and this pain, knowing that your eyes are blinded by the lies.
You ignorant
Catch the
motherfucker!
free American.
I know my
Weekday mornings at 10
goddamn
a.m.
name,
Eastern,
you dumb
7 a.m.
motherfucker!
Pacific.
Who do you think you are? You dumb son of a bitch!
Yes, you're right.
As far as I'm concerned, you're a goddamn pro!
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Free American Parody Show. I'm Jeff from the Charlotte, Winston-Salem, Greensboro, Wilmington area. Hope everybody can hear me okay. And what I wanted to let you know, the regular host, Dr. Joshua Higgins, and Boob Smith asked me to fill in as guest host, so I'm going to do the best I can. The goal today is to have a regular panel. We're going to take calls, just kind of liven things up a little bit, keep the content fresh. And the goal for everybody is to celebrate the show. So, with that in mind, let's see if we can take our first caller here, area code 240.
Hey, what's up, man?
Welcome to the show.
Jeff, what's up, man? It's Don Cornelius.
Don Cornelius, nice to have you in the house. Welcome.
It's good to be back, brother. I love the show. I love what you're doing. I think you're doing a great job so far.
Excellent. I really appreciate that. So today we're celebrating the Free American Show and Clay Douglas, everything we love about the show. What are your favorite parts about the Free American Show and what Clay brings to us?
Well, I got to say, I'm a big fan of Clayton when he takes the calls. It's great. I love listening to him take the calls and listen to him get worked up. It's wonderful. It's really crazy sometimes to hear how angry he gets at callers, but that's just Clayton being Clayton. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, absolutely. You just kind of never know where the conversation is going to go. You kind of roll with things. Today we had a string of callers call in, super fans. Any of those of note to you? I noticed Dr. Higgins called in. John from Indiana called in. Anybody that stood out to you?
Well, I got to be honest with you right now. I actually did not hear the calls, but I know if my man Doc Higgins called, it was money. And if John from Indiana, if that's the home of John Mellencamp, if I know my man John, that was a good call too. I just haven't had a chance to listen, but I will definitely listen tonight.
That sounds great. Just to give everybody a wrap-up, Dr. Higgins called back in. He had a little bit more time left over from Clay Appreciation Day. 609 did not get a chance to get in. I'm going to assume that was one of our super, super extreme fans, Barry, got shut down. I believe the term was go to hell or fuck you. Ted in Cleveland called in to give a couple pokes. What I liked about John from Indiana, he called in and wanted to clear up some misconceptions that people get about rain dances. And obviously it's great information just like Clay presents to us, but you never know enough about the Lakota tribe. So I was glad to hear that.
I was just going to ask you, how did Clayton handle that? He usually doesn't have a lot of good things to say about the Indians.
Well, that's the thing is he's always said that he has great respect for indigent Americans and also those indigenous who don't have a lot of money. So, some of his best friends are probably both indigent and indigenous. And so I think he walks a fine line, but most of the time what we get is go to hell, Longfeather. So, that kind of says it all.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really get his whole thing with Johnny. I mean, Johnny's a good man. I don't know why. I mean, he was out there protesting on Thanksgiving, a one-man picket line. I mean, it's crazy. Out by Kroger's. And
right outside the Kroger.
And Clayton was just so mean to him. I didn't understand that. I think Johnny is good for his people. He loves his people. And sometimes Clayton is very, very rude to him, and I don't understand that.
No, I think that's a great point. That's a great point. Hey, Don Cornelius, do you mind if I just let you listen to the show a little bit? I've got a few other callers on hold, and I'd love to see their input.
Absolutely, my man. I appreciate you taking my call.
Absolutely. Listen in, and if we need you, we're going to take your call again, okay? Thanks a lot.
All right.
All right, area code 616. 616, welcome to the Free American Parody Show.
Joe Pa. Yeah,
hey, Joe Pa. Welcome.
Joe Pa.
Welcome. This is Jeff from Charlotte, Greensboro, Winston-Salem area.
Yeah, yes. I missed a lot of the show today, and I'm looking forward to the replay. I assume it was just nothing but clips and maybe a couple of calls at the beginning. Is that all?
Well, we did have a clip, so if you want to get the insight on the secret of the Sphinx, you certainly can listen in. The way to do that is to go to download the entire 2-hour show, and you'll get probably an hour and 45 minutes of that mystery of the Sphinx unraveled.
Oh, it wasn't Jewish slavery, huh? It was probably something else. I wonder if it was the inner earth people, the giants, the intersectionality of the giants, the serpents, the bird people, come together to build that great Sphinx. I wonder if it could be a portal down there to the inner earth as well. You never know. I'll do some
excellent
research
point.
on that.
No, I think that's a great point.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I don't know if Dr. Higgins was available, but I had a question for him after I was sick last night. I was, of course, this show is starting to consume my mind half the time, which is the wrap-up show is a good thing. But Dr. Higgins, I wanted to ask him instead if he's found any intersectionality between Caitlyn Jenner and the bird people. I know we talked about Caitlyn Jenner and the giants, but in his research, with Caitlyn Jenner and the transgender community, is there any relationship there between the bird people and the serpent people, and the admiral there that found the hole in the earth? So if Dr. Higgins has any answers on that, maybe in the future, that might be something that he could investigate with Clay, and Caitlyn Jenner with the Sphinx. You just never know in the transgender community. These things are all interlinked. And there could also be a Jewish world conspiracy. There are a lot of things a lot of questions that we need answered, and I don't think Clay does necessarily a good job answering all these things for us all the times with these clips. If he would engage his audience a little bit more,
right,
instead of having these clips, they're great exposition, but there's no questions really being answered. And I wish Clay would answer these. And so.
Okay. No, great. I can answer a little bit for Dr. Higgins. He's away today and asked me to do the show as a guest fill-in, so I was happy to oblige. Usually what Clay says, and I'm going to go with this answer too, have you read Admiral Byrd's diary yet? That should answer every question that you've ever had in life. And the other thing is, remember, what is a forgery? A forgery is an exact copy of the original.
Yes.
Does that answer your question?
That was, that's a great thing, and that's a great line. If you could explain Clay in one line, that might be it. A forgery is an exact copy of the original. You'd think a man with 160 IQ that reads 1,000 words per minute with 90% retention. I remember one of your calls, he actually has you beat, doesn't he? Weren't you at like 155 IQ and you could read about 900 words a minute, and he had you beat, right? But I never knew a forgery was an exact copy of the original. I always thought a copy was a copy of the original, not a forgery. So I will have to read Admiral Byrd. That will
excellent.
In the hole in the center of the top of the earth. But
yeah, no, it should solve everything for you. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is put you on hold. If it's okay with you, I've got another caller to take.
Yeah, thanks, Boob, and hello to all my other fellow dumb motherfuckers out there. Good job, guys.
All right. Okay. And again, just to remind everybody, I'm Jeff from the Charlotte, Winston-Salem area. I'm filling in for the regular host. They asked me to fill in. It's filling in for Dr. Joshua Higgins and Boob Smith. Let's go to if they want to answer. They've been on the hold the longest. Area code 920. 920.
Hi, Jeff. This is Carlos in Milwaukee. How you doing?
Carlos, great to talk with you. How's the weather up in Milwaukee? I'm from Michigan, so I always wonder what it's like up there now.
Well, it's kind of clear today, but it's supposed to be getting some rain or something this weekend, so we'll see what happens. I just want to call in and say hi, how much I support you guys and what you guys are doing here. This is great stuff. So it's the show kind of sucked today. Yeah, the show kind of sucked today, but there's one good point where the chat room was pretty fun, but other than that, pretty boring like usual. So
yeah, no, that totally makes sense. Totally makes sense. I'm really glad you called in. What are some of your favorite callers that you've had, or maybe favorite individual phone calls that you can remember that really brought you some entertainment from Clay's perspective?
Well, there's a whole bunch of those. It would probably have to be. It's hard to pick the good ones. Obviously, Barry and Steve are the best, I think, and of course, Longfeller's pretty good too. His little Indian stuff is pretty interesting. I'm learning a lot from Longfeller about the Indian nation and how they actually do their stuff, which is pretty cool. And plus,
yeah,
it's always interesting. Yeah, absolutely. I was just kind of curious about who's this Admiral Byrd guy that he mentions a lot, Clay.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great question. I think I've picked a lot from the clips. Admiral Byrd was a gentleman, an Indian explorer of sorts, sort of like a DeGamo or DeSoto, that type of a thing, a Pizarro, looking for new lands, and he took a trip to Antarctica, and of course he came across portals to the inner earth, and that's where we get our reptiles, our birdmen, our antmen, what other animals are in the zoo? Leopard men, Chihuahua men, things like that, and of course you get the shapeshifters and the giants and things like that. And it's a whole world. It's like a menagerie down there. And he found the portal. So if you just read about his diary, that's going to explain everything.
If I had to look into that thing and educate myself, I'm not nowhere near 160 IQ or have a 95 or 99% retention rate on reading, but I'll sure give it my best shot, And
no, that's great. One other question: how many words per minute can you read?
Oh boy, I'm guessing around 10.
Around
like
10.
That,
and what's your retention? Yeah, but what's your retention rate?
Oh boy, that might be around 8% maybe.
Oh, fantastic! Well, you know what? That's really good. Someday you'll get up to the other levels. So
that's why I listen to Clay's show, because hopefully I can improve myself, because he's obviously knowledgeable of the information he's talking about.
Absolutely. Okay.
All right.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for calling in. I'm going to put you on hold if that's okay. I've got another few callers, and we want to make sure everybody gets in. It's very popular today, which is great.
All right. Have a great day. Talk to you later.
Thanks so much. You got it. Bye-bye. Okay, let's see. Who's been on hold? Area code 503. 503, welcome to the show.
Thank you, you ignorant motherfucker.
Excellent, you stupid son of a bitch. Who am I speaking with?
This is Brian.
Brian, good to talk with you. What's on your mind today?
Another question. Any more information on that pancake breakfast at the Hotel Settles next month?
Well, the nice thing about the Hotel Settles is that's more of a like a Renaissance type thing. And I'll tell you, it's where everybody wants to go when you're in Big Springs, especially for any event like a Morning Brew kickoff launch, maybe future things like like a meet and greet, that type of a thing, those type of things.
Bullshit.
Thank you, Clay. And so anyway, pancake breakfast. I believe that one of the callers had called in and said that's one of the things that's coming up. I believe January 20th, there's going to be a pancake breakfast for an unnamed event. I assume it's another meet and greet. Or it could be the launch, the post-launch for Morning Brew.
Oh, that's right. Morning Brew is starting. And that maybe they could jump in together and do the same thing then.
That's what I'm under the impression of, exactly. And the thing about that is, you don't hear a lot on the previous 2-hour show that's before this. And I think the reason why is because of contractual discombobulations and things like that. You're not allowed to really bring up shows that have not begun yet. I'm sure you can understand why Clay and his producer really have kept that under wraps.
No, I could definitely understand that. Maintain somewhat of an element of surprise, but I heard that pancake breakfast. I love pancakes, and a pancake breakfast is something that sounds like it'd be right up Clay's alley. It's sort of quaint, hokey. Get to know your fans. I could see him doing something like that. I would love to be a part of it.
Okay, well, that sounds great. Well, thank you very much. I'm going to put you on hold now, and I've got another very special guest here. I think you're all going to like this one. Thanks for calling.
Thank you, sir.
You got it. Area code 770. Welcome, area code 770.
Hey, Jeff. It's Doug Dannager, gay man and gay journalist. How are you?
Welcome. It's so nice to talk with a gay male and a gay journalist.
Thank you. I do double duty. In more ways than one. I'd just like to get a quick plug in. I couldn't listen to today's show. I was up against a press deadline. You know how hard those can sometimes be. My coverage is submitted to the editor. The Appreciation Day is incoming. We've got some great photos. We've got a great listener profile with Johnny Longfeather of Seymour, Indiana, home of John Mellencamp, and it should be a really good piece. And I'll be forwarding a hard copy to Clay this time, and hopefully appreciates my hard work. And the listeners' hard work. I, of course, couldn't do the hard-hitting coverage without everyone's input.
Absolutely. No, I think that's great. I want to tell you, your hard-hitting coverage of the meet and greet, I assume that you're up for some sort of an award for that. You couldn't get more in-depth, deep, hard-hitting coverage.
Thank you. Yes, it was definitely, I definitely penetrated the inner workings of the event and revealed a lot of things that a lot of people wanted to see. I'm hoping to win a Pulitzer, but don't want to get too far ahead of myself.
I completely understand that. Anything else you want to put in now? We'll be looking for your article, of course.
Not much. I would expect it to come out tonight, but it'll definitely be there by the end of, or before rather, Clay's show tomorrow. I'm really excited to continue my coverage of Clay and all things free American.
Okay, that sounds great. Thank you so much for calling in. I appreciate it, you stupid motherfucker, and I hope you have a great day.
All right, Jeff. You as well. I really like the new format. I'll try and correspond a little more regularly. I wouldn't even mind being your gay correspondent out in the field for All Things Wrap-Up Show as well.
I think that sounds great. I would absolutely like that very much. And Clay, what do you think about that?
Punk motherfucker.
All right. Thank you, Doug. I'll see you next time.
Have a good one, Clay.
All right. Bye-bye.
You as well, Jeff.
Okay. You've been on hold the longest time. We got a blocked number here. You're on the air with the Parody Wrap-Up Show.
Cameron. How are you doing today?
Excellent. Trevor Cameron, it's great to hear from you. I've heard a lot about you, both in person and from your books.
Yeah, it's it's an honor to be able to call in and just chat. I mean, I had a question for you, a couple of questions for you. I don't actually know the background of this, despite my relation to Clay. Did you know anything about the romance between Clay and Candy, how it began, how they met, how they consummated their love, all those kind of things? I'd love to know if you have the backstory there.
Well, I'll tell you what, the first thing I'll tell you is, a lot of people think that your name was actually an autobiography from about Clay, but he's taller, bigger, fatter, tougher, reads with a bigger word count per minute, killed more people and more reading comprehension than Trevor Cameron. I wasn't sure if you knew that or not.
Yeah, I think you might have mentioned that a couple times.
Yeah, absolutely. And as far as Clay and his lady friend, something I'm not privy to. He's more of a private individual. I know they've been seeing each other for a couple years, and it seems to be big paradise and big spring.
So one thing, and I know today it was sort of played on the phone, but it was cut off, was I recently uncovered a sound file of Clay talking some shit about Candy, and I feel like now's a good time to kind of expose it if you're okay with that.
Well, that's really an interesting thing. I'm not so sure I've got any information on that one. We're going to have to leave that to speculation. I really don't have anything to report.
Well,
and as a super fan, it's disappointing. But I'll tell you one thing. This is what Clay says.
Just almost to the point of believing that you were all right.
Well, here's
and
what
now
I have.
we hear that.
Now here's what I have
Go
for
ahead.
you. Okay.
see, Candy Clinton is a fucking lying, thieving con artist. Candy Clinton is the fat little Jew. Candy's not good for you.
Now, what do you think about that?
Well, that's really interesting. And then
Shut
this.
the fuck up and don't say anything, and maybe you won't be.
So I think that pretty much clears things up, doesn't it, Trevor Cameron?
A little bit, yeah, definitely. So, listen, I got to get back to, fighting crime and spying and, taking a ride with Wild Cindy. So I'm just going to get going, and I appreciate you taking my call.
Hey, thank you so much. You're welcome to call the wrap-up show anytime. Thanks, Trevor. Bye-bye.
Take care.
And everyone, I just want to let you know again, I'm Jeff from the Charlotte, Greensboro, Winston-Salem area. I'm filling in for the normal host. They asked me to fill in. This is Dr. Joshua Higgins and Boob Smith, who normally run the show. The goal, I'm told, is to get regular rotating guests in here to kind of keep things fresh so we can all appreciate that, which is everything Clay. So I'm going to go to area code 715. 715, welcome to the
hello,
show.
Jeff. Hey,
well,
this is
hello. Who am I
Buck
speaking
Wayne
with?
Jr.
Oh, excellent. Buck Wayne, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing well. I'm calling from my off-grid compound 30 miles north of Pigeon Falls, Wisconsin. And unfortunately,
excellent.
The Jewish weather masters sent cloud cover for the past 3 days, so my solar panels weren't able to charge my battery bank, so I missed most of the show. I really appreciate the venue of the wrap-up show to allow, true Clay fans like myself and you and others to really, get together and, express our appreciation for the free American.
I appreciate that. And we did get a chance to appreciate him yesterday. It didn't quite go as I think most of the super fans thought. What were your thoughts on Clay Appreciation Day and just sort of the hype surrounding it?
Yeah. I mean, it. Unfortunately, the last 3 days I haven't been able to listen to the show much. I did catch the part yesterday where you unveiled the GoFundMe donation, and I didn't expect the. I think I lost you there.
No problem. Keep going.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I caught the part where you unveiled the GoFundMe page, and a good friend of mine, Cato Kalin, donated to that. And so I think, having something like that really shows Clay how much we appreciate and value his, show in something in cold, hard cash that he can, get in the palm of his hand, that he can use to buy, some catfish dinners on Friday at Dell's. What have you. I think that's really going to have an impact on him.
Absolutely. I think you're right about that, and I think it's going to be a surprise to him once he gets his funds, which they're in process. We're always good on our word. But the thing is, the true super fans, they're the ones that really came through in the clutch. I did not hear any of Clay's normal chat room people calling in, which means that clearly they couldn't have donated any money. That was the biggest surprise to me. You didn't hear anything from, I believe, Two on Earth or Markov, anything like that. I would have thought the show would have been filled with people like that. Instead, it was filled more with clips, and the biggest generation or the biggest donations are from his super fans.
Absolutely, and time will tell, and Clay will realize, what his true fans are doing for him, and. Actually, to that end, I'm one of the many, free American fans scouring the deep web for Clay, and I think I've stumbled onto something absolutely huge. I was able to uncover this leaked, classified police report from the Cleveland Police Department, actually. Have you heard about this?
No, but this is where we report the news, so let's hear what you got.
Yeah, so it turns out there was an officer, Ed Powell, who was out on a surveillance job about a man with suspected ties to Nigerian intelligence. And his name was Rodrigo Sabatino. And so Ed Powell, spent, several weeks documenting and surveilling this Rodrigo Sabatino. And, Ed Powell, documented numerous cases of lewd and lascivious activity with various ladies of the evening, including one, local notorious prostitute named Sweet Candace. And at face value, that's where that story ends. But as I dug further into this character of Rodrigo Sabatino, it turns out his real name is Rick Shumley. And so this, I think, is the source of all enmity between Shumley, known as Scumley, and Clay. And it turns out Sweet Candace is really Candy. And so she worked for a long time, several decades, in Cleveland as a pretty notorious call girl. Cheap, but notorious. So I'm compiling the documents. I'm going to blow this thing wide open. Jeff, I've got to let you go. I see a chemtrail flight on the horizon, and I got to get down in my bunker so I don't get that Jewish poison that'll turn me gay. So I just appreciate all you're doing here, Jeff, and we'll talk to you another time. Buck Wayne Jr. signing out.
That sounds great. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Talk to you later.
Yep.
Already here, area code 516. 516, welcome to the show. Okay. Right back to area code 240. Welcome again.
Hey, what's up, Jeff? It's Don Cornelius.
Yeah, Don, you had said if you had any use, if we had any use for you, I wanted to know, do you think it's right for the host of a show to not pick up on specific area codes or callers just based on previous? For example, I feel bad for the treatment for poor Barry. He doesn't, all he gets is an FU and go to hell, that kind of stuff. What do you think about the treatment of that? I mean, maybe he was ready to shock us with brilliant information.
Well, listen, sometimes, I just don't understand Clayton, because Barry's a good man. I think we all know Barry loves Clay. We all love Clay, and I just don't understand sometimes the way he treats Barry. Barry loves Clay. He always tries to call in. He donates so much of his time to Clayton's show, and Clay just yells at him like, fuck you, kiss my ass, motherfucker, Jew, motherfucker, all that shit. It's crazy. It's not good. I don't like it. I think he's zeroed in on Barry, and I'm ashamed of Clay for that. That's not good.
Right. No, I completely agree with that. The other thing I think that's really a problem is poor Barry, he's a regular advertiser and sponsor of the show. A lot of his business depends on getting plugs on the Free American Show. He's not getting that business. What's going to happen for this holiday business that he depends on? He needs this.
And that's what I'm saying. It's crazy because he's actually taking food off Barry's table. And and I know Clayton's not that type of guy. He wouldn't want to do that. I don't understand why he's treating Barry with such hatred and callousness. It doesn't make any sense. It just really, it upsets me. It really does. Because Barry is a good man. I think we all agree. Barry, Steve, all good men.
No, absolutely. And, Steve has told me this on numerous occasions. He is just out to make the show better. He's out to help. And when you're the producer of a show and you don't get feedback, that's positively or constructive from your host, that's working almost against each other. It's like oil and water. They need to be a cohesive cognitive unit. And I'm not so sure that that's happening with those two right now. Luckily, Steve's on vacation. He's probably retooling. But, we just want the show to get better.
Let me tell you something, Jeff. Clayton misses Steve. The show is not the same without Steve producing. It just really is not the same. There's too many clips, too much dead air. Half the show is dead air. It's crazy. And I know Steve would be there to clamp down on that and cut all the dead air out and the clips and all the nonsense and all the crazy foolery that goes on in the chat room. Steve, it's like his right hand. He can't do the show without Steve. It can't be as good as he wants it to be without producing. It just can't happen.
Right, and I think that's a good point. A lot of what happens is pride gets in the way, or ego. When you've been doing the same show for 20 fucking years, it's hard to ask for help. Even though the show's better, you want it to rely on what you've done. And frankly, when Steve gets involved, I mean, Clay thinks
bullshit.
And that's what I'm saying. And, you know, it's just one of those things where it's it makes you all crazy. It makes you, yep, stuff like that. So I'm
discombobulated listening to this. It's crazy. All of a sudden I hear bullshit that just scared the shit out of me. I was like laughing and discombobulated and everything. And can I ask you a question,
well,
Jeff, real quick before you let me go?
Don,
did I hear that correctly? That Scumley was Candy's pimp in Cleveland?
See, now you've revealed yourself, and frankly, Clay and I think
you're a goddamn troll.
I apologize for that, Don. What I meant to say is, as a super fan, that's a fantastic question.
It's crazy. What? Clayton's yelling at me. Why is he yelling at me?
Well, you know, everybody likes to get their licks in, so I guess it's. I mean, some people think it's funny. They start laughing. You know.
Let me just say this,
like that.
Clayton. Sometimes you can be an ignorant son of a bitch.
Oh, doesn't it feel good to say that, though, Don?
Oh, it really does. Listen, he's a dumb motherfucker. He's a dumb motherfucker some of the time. Then other times he's an ignorant son of a bitch. But most of the time he's fine. I say that. But sometimes he's an ignorant son of a bitch.
Oh, that's a great point. Well, thank you so much, Don. I really appreciate it. I will definitely look forward to your calls in the future. Oh, we're having a great time here. Thanks so much, Don. All right.
Thank you, Jeff.
Again, this is Jeff from the Charlotte area, and I'm filling in for the regular guest host. They asked me to fill in. I wanted to let everybody know, just kind of going back into the Clay archives, what we have here is a lot of times, a lot of us super fans, maybe we approach our calls the wrong way, and we get almost like a nuclear blast of feedback. But what happens when a guest calls in, one of the feature guests, and things just don't get along?
Destroyed by those who sit on their sorry asses and are afraid to speak out and do absolutely nothing. The Phoenix has spoken.
Okay, now hold on. You know, right now to me, tonight, on my last show, it sounds to me like you're raving. I'm tired of that. Stop it. Now, listen, let's talk a little bit about what we can do. Now, Trump's out there, and he's running, and he's making the Bavarian police found.
You're right.
Yeah. Russell, if you interrupt me one more good time, I'll goddamn hang up on you, and you'll never be on my show again.
And fucking hang up! Who the fuck do you think you're talking to? You show some fucking respect. Tell me I'm
ranting. You show some respect by not interrupting me.
Like that. You got fucking problems. Deal with them like a fucking man.
I'm dealing with it like a man. I'm telling you, man to man, don't interrupt me.
Wow. How about that? When you dig into the archives, you find priceless gems. You find radio gold. Now, when Russell and Clay, when they clashed, wow, that's like Greek gods getting together for all-out war. It's fantastic. And, I mean, obviously Clay had a problem with it.
Bullshit.
Exactly. And he got
discombobulated.
Thank you for the input there. I appreciate it. Now, the thing is, that area code 609, I got to give Barry a shout-out.
Fuck you, Barry.
Exactly. And I got one more call here before we hang up for the rest of the show. Area code 214. Area code 214, welcome to the show.
Hi, this is John in Tampa. How are you?
John in Tampa, nice to talk with you.
Yeah, I was calling because I know that Clay was called out the other day a little bit on his homosexual tendencies and his potential history with sucking penis. So
well,
I
was
trying to yeah, exactly. So I was trying to determine, since he's so hostile towards the homosexuals, if he has done that, then what makes you gay? Is how many dicks do you have to suck? Or, I mean, what are the different scenarios that have to take place before you are, in fact, homosexual?
Well, the thing is that my feeling on it is if it happens once, it doesn't count. If you don't make eye contact, it certainly doesn't count. And I'm going to let you go on that note because we're out of time. Thank you so much for calling in.
Thank you.
And thank you so much. Have a great day, everyone. Bye for now.